Welcome back to the Sparkling Conservative, everyone. So today we are going to be playing along with Jasmin Crockett and the hood ghetto that brings. So she had an opportunity at DOGE subcommittee to interview, question, whatever you want to call it, a woman named Fatina Gray, who is a president of a women's law center. And this entire DOGE subcommittee was supposed to be transgender individuals in women's sports. It's off the rails. Like, the closest we get to anything about trans is the fact that it's called Trump or Trans. And again, I don't want to give away the ending, but it's all Trump. It's not trans. And again, we devolve from what should be testimony about trans individuals in women's sports to, well, yeah. We talk deportation. We talk that Trump is actually wasting U.S. taxpayer money because he goes and golfs his own property. And I'll actually break that down at the end because it's kind of fascinating to compare Trump spending versus Biden spending and what all that looks like for their travel to their respective homes. But again, we're going to talk about Trump deportation, Trump kidnapping, again, her words, not mine, American citizens, and all of that. Like, it's unhinged, it's off the rails, and I think it's going to be fun. So, like, subscribe, and we're just going to play this game, and it's going to be fun. Trust me, and yeah, let's just do this. Okay, so let's dive into this. Jasmin Crockett. I'm going to let her ask the question. I'm going to answer to the best of what I think, give a little commentary, and let's do this. Again, apologize for the poor quality. This was the best one I could find, surprisingly.
Miss Gosgraves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me.
I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me. Like, the animation. Ow. Again, hood rat.
Me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Well, I'm going to go with Trump because he's cutting off spending to colleges that are misusing that and actually forcing them to do medical research correctly. But let's see what my opponent says.
Trump.
Kidnapping a...
Cool. We align. I guess 1 point.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, aka deporting them.
Trump. But again, the best I can tell and assume that she's talking about is the instant of the children 4 and 6 years old who were deported with their mother when the mother said, I want my kids to go with me back to my country, and America kept the kids together with their parent, and the kids are citizens, so they'll be allowed back when they're 18. Or if she's talking about Kilmer Barriga Garcia, well, not an American.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
No. I mean, we're kind of teetering on that, but it was because of Biden. And hold on, let me check my stocks really quick, because as of the time of recording this, the China deal's gone through, and yeah, everything looks to be back where it was right around when Trump was elected. So yes, we saw a little dip in the stock market, but nope.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
increasing the cost of everything. Again, I am pretty certain that's all Biden carryover. I mean, we talked about the cost of eggs. I don't buy eggs a lot, but I've even been kind of watching that, and those prices are going down. And yeah.
Trump.
Waging.
I love the delayed Trump. Like just listen to that. She's not certain.
Everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Idiotic tariff war. Let's see. I think tariffs are going to help the economy. We're seeing that already. And that's why China caved and came to the negotiating table. That's why so many other countries have done exactly that.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Not sure what the harming farmers one is, but again, Trump's 130, 40 days, whatever it is already, I'm sure he's done something for farmers that the left is like, oh god, that's bad. And maybe she's talking about deporting their labor, but again, the left loves their free, discounted, certain colors labor.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Ignoring the Constitution. Biden blatantly ignored it with student loan stuff, and again, I'm sure that that's kind of what this person's getting to, is all of Trump's ignoring the Constitution with Kilmer-Barriger Garcia, where the Supreme Court said facilitate. And when Bukele was in the Oval Office, he blatantly said, why would I send an El Salvadorian citizen who is a criminal to your country? Like, that's not how this works. But yeah, Trump's ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Not heard that he's doing that.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Crap ton of IRS agents, probationary people who had only been in most of these agencies for a year. Not keeping us safe. Again, it was Biden who discharged a large amount of our military that actually keeps people safe. And yeah.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Ooh. Trans. Because, yeah.
Trump.
Thank you so much.
Oh, dang it. I'm sad I got one wrong. But I really thought the hate and divisiveness was the trans or the trans supporters, because shucks. Dang it.
This committee could be engaged in actual oversight of fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement.
What is her salary? Oh, wait. Wrong game show.
So let's talk about waste. Like Trump's plan to spend almost $100 million for his little birthday parade. Or how he spent 25% of his...
For a birthday parade? I not heard about that one, but I'm pretty sure that would have been somewhere.
Of his first 100 days golfing, costing...
So, I love the Trump golfing argument, and I'm going to let her make this, and then I'll include in my closing my stances on that, but the Trump golfing argument is hilarious to me.
Taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. In fact, it's a little bit over 30 million at our last estimation. In fact, President Trump...
Over 30 million in their last estimation. So you're just estimating and picking a number. Cool.
And Trump is on pace to spend more than $1 billion of taxpayer dollars just on golfing. Yet the Republicans have been silent. So they must think spending taxpayer dollars on the president's golfing trips is more important than providing health care to their constituents. And when I talk about constituents, we're going to talk about the ones on this committee.
We're going to talk about, again, educate yourself. Okay, so again, I really did want to talk about what she's alluding to with the Trump golfing and how that's an estimated $30 million in his first 100-ish days as president. And again, I asked ChatGPT this because that's kind of the best way to aggregate a bunch of stuff, and I'm betting Congress is doing the same. So, how much does it cost taxpayers when Trump goes golfing at his own golf course? We have to keep in mind the Trump Corporation owns Mar-a-Lago, and it's technically, as we saw during the Trump documents raid, it is Trump's residence. So keep that in mind. So, again, ChatGPT. Per trip expenses, each visit to Mar-a-Lago has an estimated cost to taxpayers of approximately $3.4 million, according to a 2019 Government Accountability Office report. And this is because, and not limited to, security and overtime because of local authorities such as Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and the overtime that brings for those sheriff deputies. But the other big thing is they're claiming that the federal employees, i.e. Secret Service, who travel with Trump, have to pay for their rooms, and those rooms can be up to just shy of $1,200 a night. So, again, I question that. So, again, the next follow-up that I thought was, okay, what about Biden? Because we know he spent a whole lot of his time in Rehoboth at their house in Delaware. And how does that compare? So, keep in mind, they are claiming that the costs for this are because of overtime to the sheriff's deputies, okay, should be required in Delaware, should be required, and lodging costs. So, for President Biden's trips, the answer is, while exact per-trip costs are not publicly itemized, available data provides some estimates. So, again, things in common are Air Force One travel time and Marine One travel time. Okay, well, yeah, that's a thing. But here's where it gets interesting. The Secret Service expenses for President Biden's trips to Delaware have totaled around $3 million for 77 days of visits. So, again, I really question that because, again, we're talking Trump and the fact that it's $240,000 per visit for security. But with Biden, it's 77 days of visits for $3 million. So was Delaware cops and sheriff's deputies just doing it out of the kindness of their heart for Biden? Again, I don't buy that. And when I asked, again, why is Trump's more expensive? Because this is a big why. And again, I'm just reading what ChatGPT is giving as an aggregate of multiple sources. Trump often traveled to resorts he owns, such as Mar-a-Lago, the Trump National Golf Course in New Jersey, and others. Again, those are his residences. He has residence at all of those. So, yes, they're commercial properties, but they're his residence. It these trips resulted in government spending at Trump-owned businesses. Again, nothing, I'm assuming, wrong here. Secret Service is paying up to $1,200 per night for rooms. Highly suspect that's not a thing. I'm suspecting that the news media and all of these estimators are saying, okay, well, great. Here is Trump's room costs because we looked on kayak.com and that's what a room at Mar-a-Lago costs. And I'm betting you that's like a presidential suite. Like, I doubt that's what the Secret Service is staying in. But here's where it gets devolved. So, again, it's the spending federal money on Trump's businesses and increasing the cost, and of course the ethical, which is not a thing. The security complexity, well, we saw during the election that the security complexity, should be improved. But whatever. They're also saying because it takes longer to fly from DC to Florida, it's more expensive. Which it does burn more fuel, but whatever. But keep in mind, Mar-a-Lago, Trump's residence. Rehoboth Beach house, Biden's residence. And Mar-a-Lago, fenced in on essentially call four sides. I'm sure there's some weird little offshoots and stuff. But Biden's house on the beach. I mean, that's probably pretty hard to secure because it's a public beach. But, whatever. So, of course, the follow-up question to this is, where does the Secret Service stay when they traveled with Biden? Or continue to travel with Biden because he still has Secret Service protection? Well, they stayed at guest cottages on the property and nearby hotels and rentals, where magically, this comes directly from the AP, they don't cite those hotels or the estimated cost. So, yeah. But, again, totally off topic from our game show, but Jasmin Crockett brought it up, so really wanted to dive into that one. And, again, Trump or trans, I'm waiting for episode 2. Whenever she releases it, because we know the wackadoo will do it. I will definitely play along and we'll see. And again, how we got on Trump's golf course travel from a woman who's there to testify about trans sports, which in Jasmin Crockett's game show we never heard once. I don't know. I mean, this is the world of the politics we live in where one thing leads to another and then leads to another and then leads to another, and who knows how we got there, but all I can say is everything that Jasmin Crockett blamed Trump for is technically true. Everything that the psychopathic woman who was testifying on behalf of trans women's sports, but then talking about Trump's deportations, because, again, those two things go together. I mean, are they advocating deporting trans people? I don't know. Again, whatever, don't know. And we're just going to leave it at that. So, like, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great one.